Chip Kelly, head coach, San Francisco 49ers, decked out perfectly. Help me, please, coach. I have a mom who's in her 80s. And she has a birthday coming up. What do you get a parent who's in his 80s, as your dad just was, for a birthday present?
It was easy. I gave him a San Francisco 49ers hat. So he was fired up, obviously that I got the job 2 days before his birthday, but I was out here. I don't think he expected to see me, so it was pretty cool that Jed and Trent gave me the opportunity to get back there and see him on his birthday.
I'd like to say congratulations to you, man.
Thank you.
I'm fired up for you, and I did a few of your games when you were in Philadelphia as a head coach, and a great franchise and history and tradition, but this is a different animal, man. You think of the quarterbacks here, you think of the tradition, the success, the Lombardi trophies. What's that mean to you?
That was one of the things about this organization that was so attractive, is that they have a standard of excellence with the San Francisco 49ers. It's really second to none in this league. And, for me, when obviously I was out of work, when there's a 4, 5, 6 jobs that are open in the league, you start to sit down, where would you like to be? And this was the only place I wanted to go, to be honest with you.
What'd you learn from the Philadelphia experience? Great success the first 2 years. Last year, it's not easy to win games in this league, and you still won some big games. What'd you learn about yourself and maybe the business of pro football? That
it's highly competitive, in that you have to come prepared every single week, and then that's the most important thing, is that really what happened last week really doesn't mean anything the following week. When you're in college, most of the top programs in college, they win 10 games in February. And what I mean by that, it's when they sign that class in February, they've probably got about 10 wins, and they're going to crank it up for 2 really big games against conference opponents to be able to qualify to go to the college football playoff, and then those games are big and that's it. But in the National Football League, every single week is a challenge, and every single week takes on a life of its own, and it's unique. It's also kind of intoxicating when you're a competitor, that this is what it's going to be like, and you almost don't have time to breathe. I'm literally thinking about the next opponent when you're walking off the field. Whether you won or lost, you're going to shake the other coach's hand, but thinking, all right, we're going where next, and what's our week going to look like, and how's that going to be?
And Chip, that's interesting. You used the word intoxicating. As you referenced the coaches who called you and talked to you about staying in the NFL, was that ever a question in your mind about? It was, because people linked you to going back to college.
Yeah, well, I think I was a college coach, but so I always get linked to that, but I didn't know what I was going to do, and that was just one point of it. They didn't call me and tell me that I need to stay. It was just in talking to those guys and just getting a feel for, because they have experience with other franchises. So if a job's open at place A or place B, what do you know about that? What do you know what the setup is like? Is it a good situation to get involved in? Because part of it has to be a collaborative effort. It's not just one person, not just one player, one coach, one owner, one general manager. It has to be everybody being on the same page. So, when you do your due process in terms of where you're looking to go, you're trying to find out as much information possible about the different franchises and where can you be most successful, and really what's the best fit for you.
A type of player that struck me, Chip, watching you near the end of your time at Oregon, you had DeAnthony Thomas, who was a brilliant, game-breaking kind of player. And then in Philadelphia, I watched and you brought Darren Sproles in. Now, veteran player, but running back, catch the ball, return guy, that multi-purpose space guy. Is that, I'm painting here, I admit, with a broader brush, but is that the kind of player you find very valuable?
Well, with DeAnthony or with Darren or any of those players, and it can match for any position, but I think position versatility is the key. This league is all about matchups. And so if you can find someone that can play multiple positions, it makes the matchup very difficult. So if you have a player like Darren, where we're going to go light and play DBs, and we're going to go dime, and we're going to put 6 DBs in the game, well, then line them up in the backfield and run the ball, because the dime linebacker isn't great on run fits. So, but there aren't a lot of those guys out there. Philosophically, everybody says, well, we can do this, this, and this. But to be able to have a player like those guys that can be running backs, can be receivers, it's special, and they're hard to find, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of running backs you're great when you take them out of the backfield and put them on the perimeter. They don't run routes like a wide receiver runs routes. With guys like that, I was fortunate, to coach players like that had that versatility. It's the same thing, if you have those tight ends that can be receivers, and you can go out and miss, but they also can you put your hand on the ground and block a 290-pound defensive end. That position versatility is really what you're looking for on the offensive side of the ball.
Chip, where did this prolific offense, these concepts, the philosophies, where did it originate for you? And I know it's ever growing and you're always adding and modifying and manipulating and changing things opponent specific, but where did the concepts start with you?
Well, I started my coaching career on the defensive side of the ball, and I used to just remember from a defensive side of the ball what was very difficult for you or for us on defense to defend. And then I always thought that when I moved back over, before I became a coordinator, I would always just think back to the days on defense. You know, you didn't like unbalanced. You didn't like when people went fast. You didn't like when they put big edges and put extra tight ends in the game. If you were a big team and then they had the ability to play 4 wide receivers. So the ability to combine kind of all those thoughts of what were difficult for us to defend when I was on the defensive side of the ball, to carry it over to offense.
And there's so many benefits to it, but I think one of the biggest ones, just being a pass rusher, is it's the greatest equalizer to a pass rusher.
It's just to the old adage that, you know, fatigue is a great equalizer, you know, and the ability to take someone who at 100% is probably a tough matchup for you, but take that same person at 75%, we kind of even out the playing field there.
Chip, thank you so much. We know we've taken you away from the
All right,
universe.
buddy.
Thanks. It's great
Thanks.
to see
Appreciate
you.
it.
Golden Retriever tips next time.